Good evening.
Good evening to this thing called
Life.
life.
So let me tell y'all. The reason we are late this evening, I had to go and make a run, and so I was down off of Keystone and Millersville Road and back up in there, and off of Millersville and Fall Creek. I'm not real sure what's going on, but there were about 8 squad cars out there and a couple of animal control vehicles. So I decided when it was time for me to leave that I was not going to come back in that same direction. So I whipped around to go to take another route, and the police were all up and through the neighborhood. Period. So they pulled me over and asked me, as they were flashing the light all in the back. Now I have an SUV, and my windows are not tinted. They're about to be, but they're not so far. And so there are shining lights all in the back of my SUV. And as they walked up to the door, and the police officer says, "Ma'am, can I ask you to step out of the vehicle so that we may search your vehicle? May I ask you to step out so that we may search your vehicle?" That's what he said. And I said, "Well, can you tell me what it is that you've pulled me over for?" Because now, mind you, he did not ask me for ID. He didn't have time to run my plates. Any of the usual. And he was like, "Ma'am, can you step out of the vehicle?" And I said, "Well, if you'll give me 30 seconds to go live, I'll step out of my vehicle." And he says, "That won't be necessary. Have a nice evening." And walked away. Needless to say, I've come a long way. I've come so far because once upon a time, I'm never one of those. I don't believe in getting jazzy with the police. I don't believe in, because I'm one of those, I want everybody to come home safe. So I don't believe in getting jazzy with the police. But
Today would have been one of those real good days.
Today was getting ready to be a day. So.
And you were out there, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
They had you hemmed up for like 20 minutes?
Yeah. Who does this? Who does what? I don't understand.
So I guess you fit the description.
Okay, now had I gotten stopped after that, it would have been justified because I broke all kinds of speed limits. I'm just saying. Getting home. So after that, it would have been justified. I don't think this is me that's logged into my computer. I think this is my child that's logged into my computer.
Oh. Well, hello. For those of you that missed it, be kind to rewind. We love the people of Indianapolis, Indiana. We really appreciate our civil servants, the first responders, the police department. We appreciate all that they do, except for when they are detaining us for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, there was a reason, but, she didn't have anything to do with what was going on. So, 20 minutes of wasted time. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and start moving forward. Excuse my voice. I am dealing with, hey, how you doing, Miss K. White?
Actually, you know what? I think she's logged in on my computer.
Oh, well, hey, Miss K. White. It still fits. It still fits. But what we're going to be talking about this evening is the side effects of the side piece. And it was hilarious because when, just, out of support, I went on Walter Jones's live feed today. Because, he had given a list of, the week, but I didn't really, confession time, I didn't really pay attention. I didn't really pay attention to the topics for the week, but I saw that he had posted them. So when I went on there, he was talking about his book, the four women that men desire. So the first one he talked about was the side chick, and it was hilarious because I was like, wow, the timing.
Right.
Because we scheduled things out, so far before the time comes. Excuse me. So if I do a lot of that, please forgive me. So when he was going through, all of the different types of the women that men desire, I was tickled because of our topic.
And the timing. I think one of the things that is always so interesting to me is because we have our topics planned out, we have our subjects and everything planned out.
Yes.
So that when it happens and it falls at interesting times, because depending on what's going on, someone else may be covering a similar topic, or something may be going on interesting in our lives,
divine timing.
It's always divine timing. It's always divine
timing. People can think what they will. People can say what they will about the topics and how they fall, but we know, and it is what it is. If it hits you, like I always say ouch, and keep it moving. Just saying what I'm saying, and that's all I'm saying.
All we can say.
Right. So we're just gonna dive right in. As far as everybody knows what a side piece is.
They do.
Everybody knows, and all side pieces do not come from cheating and infidelity.
So I'm gonna let y'all chew on that one for a minute.
All
Think about that.
Yeah, all side pieces don't come from that. But when you hear people mention side pieces, they automatically go to
Cheating.
the female.
Yes, that's the other one. Yes, you automatically assume it was a female.
Yeah, they don't take into account. It's cool to have these side dude or contracts.
Yes.
Remember for a while back it was like everybody.
We had to call it the contract.
Yeah, the what
contract.
Yeah, basically the booty call contract. But and you still see the posts where the guys talking about rent a boo, rent a bae, so much for the storyline, so much for the cuddling and the kisses and the gifts and the this, that, and the third. Basically a gigolo.
Ooh.
Basically,
Does it have to be a gigolo?
Or a paid hoe?
Does it have to be paid?
Well, if he's offering that service.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's getting paid. Or she's getting paid.
Or she's getting paid.
Right. Sugar babies.
Oldest profession in the world.
Sugar babies. Sugar babies. But I'm gonna.
Can I be a sugar baby? More like a vinegar baby, but
I am not playing with you today. I am not playing with you today. Now I'm gonna start out with an article that was talking about, are you a side chick? So whenever I read something or reference something, just know I'm speaking in terms of both genders. I'm not limiting what is being said to females by any stretch of the imagination. So let us be clear from the gate that, talking across the board. These were, this is actually an article that was written by a young lady. And and she was saying that, she knows that people see side chicks as being evil, who are in there, evil women trying to steal people's husbands and things of that nature. But she was like, she has no such intentions. She was like, she's an independent. Now, this is what got me with this one. She's an independent career woman with a very busy life. And honestly, she was not finding a man who fits into her lifestyle until she met this particular man. He happened to be a bit older, wiser, a great mentor, and he just gets her. Most importantly, he doesn't make unreasonable demands on her.
Mm-hmm.
He has lots. She said she has lots of time to pursue her business and be with her friends, and she can do this without being policed and asked where I am all the time. Mm-hmm. Said this man has given her advice and guidance on setting up her business. Mm-hmm. She makes her own money, so this is not even about money for her. Mm-hmm. It's just good to know that she has somebody she can talk to when she has challenges and to celebrate with when she has victories. And of course, they have amazing sex, according to what she says. And it's like a young lady responded to her saying she admits that young lady's making some strong and compelling arguments, and a lot of what she's saying makes sense. However, she wanted her to look at the other side of the coin. It says, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't first put this out there for you. First, consider the impact of your existence on the family unit. Whatever time he may be spending with you is time he should be giving to his wife and his children. With all of the work pressure that we all face, time is such a valuable commodity. So much of that, every minute that he is spending with you is the time that he could be sharing with his family or going to his children's concerts. So in effect, you are stealing from his family. Now, you don't know what that family dynamic is.
You damn sure don't.
A lot of times there are situations and people have open relationships.
True.
So there are times where it's not so much as the person is the side piece as it is they are the third party in an open relationship.
Are in a polyamorous dynamic.
Right.
Now, in speaking about polyamorous dynamics,
mm-hmm. Oh, we don't dig deep, yeah.
So many combinations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the one that everyone, people try to romanticize the most is, the triads, and it's just three people in an open and loving relationship and blah blah. Okay, for those who can make a triad work, more power to you. It's got to be a whole lot of love and alcohol involved. That's all I'm saying.
If all parties are not on the same page.
If all parties are not on the same page. Now, a lot of times what you run into when you have situations like that are what are called the situations, where there is one particular person, in this particular case, the gentleman, the husband, who has the wife. Mm-hmm. So he has the primary and the secondary. If you want to look at it as, in a hierarchy scheme. And in a hierarchy scheme, there's one, again, the primary, mm-hmm. and then there's the secondary. But I think one of the things that becomes real interesting is, again, because there's so many different dynamics within poly, one of the ones is don't ask, don't tell. People be like, oh, well, that's cheating. They'd be like, well, no, she knows, or he knows their partner's out there doing whatever. But they're just like, you know what, I don't want to know nothing
and
about it.
some know who they're doing it with, while
Exactly.
others don't. Because that's their preference.
But I think one of, when you get into poly, one of the things, when they talk about the side chick, when you start talking about poly relationships, mm-hmm. When you have a V, like this young lady was talking about. Again, we don't know the dynamics of that relationship. We don't know if the wife, I mean, this woman is just like, you're hurting his family, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this. You don't know, what his arrangement is. His children may be grown.
True.
His children, may be.
The comment feature. Go ahead.
If there's could be any number of
any number of things.
Yeah, any number of things going on that you can't necessarily say this is this and this is what's going on, and so because this is going on, this is wrong. No, you can't. You have no rights to that. You have no right to be able to say, this is what's going on, and so you have no right to judge.
Right.
And for me, that I think that's a huge thing, because I'm just like, don't judge my life.
Right.
One of the things people are so famous for saying is, only God can judge me. And my thing is, I don't judge anybody.
Excuse me,
I don't judge people. I mean, if you have your issues, boo-boo, those are your issues.
Sure.
I'm going to let you have your issues.
Yeah. Those of you that are on, if you would, see if you can type something in. For whatever reason, the comments feature was actually disabled. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
What I find interesting is women are more emotional in this area. Only women think about who the actions may be affecting the other party. Okay, now I will say that a lot of times women tend to be more emotional. However, there are men who are like, okay, I'm not trying to disrupt your home. I'm not trying to, because in a V situation, it could be a woman. There are polyandrous situations, and in a polyandrous, how the actions may be. Yeah, I understood what you meant. There may be situations where, it's a polyandrous situation where, the woman is the hinge and she has two male partners. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, she may have a husband, but she has a male partner. And it doesn't mean that male partner is just like, I don't give a damn how to just fix your house.
And see, that's the next point that this young lady was saying, say you are hurting his family.
But you don't know the dynamic of the family.
You
don't know what's going on. You don't know the dysfunction, the function or dysfunction that already exists prior to you stepping on the scene.
Right.
So for you to say, oh, you're hurting his family, or oh, you're tearing her home apart, or oh, you're doing this, or oh, you're doing that, unless you know all the intimate dynamics of what's going on, you can't speak on that.
Yeah.
And that is an unfair assumption.
And that's why I really like this particular, because I'm going to, we're going to delve a lot deeper. But at the same time, it's like the young lady was responding saying that you may not see anything wrong with this, but this is not a victimless crime. Someone is getting hurt. You're robbing that man and his family of their time together. I know what you might be thinking at this point, that you don't owe them any loyalty, right? But he does. This is like buying stolen goods and saying, as long as I don't know the people it was stolen from, it's not my problem. Mm-hmm. Ask yourself if you're okay with being that girl. I don't know if that's comfortable, if that is a comfortable thought for you or anybody with a conscience. And then she went forward to tell her, she was like, you deserve better. She said, let's talk about the impact that this relationship may have on you. If not now, then later. I know that you have convinced yourself that you want nothing more from him than what you're getting right now. But the more time you spend with this man, the more you will start feeling that you don't want to be without him. You will eventually get to a point that where you are bothered by only speaking to him during office hours and want to pick up the phone at 9 p.m. because you had a bad day. Now see, in that situation, that's an infidelity situation going on. That's not an open relationship situation. But there will come a time when you are tired of him grabbing his clothes and running after a passionate time together because he has to rush back home. That is not a great place to be. You might not be bothered by any of those things right now, but at some point they will creep in, and then we'll go to
Okay.
the next point.
So I'm going to say, so first of all, I'm going to read here.
Okay.
Truth Really says, in our current society, a lot of people have become functioning dysfunctionals. I'm going to come back to that in just a second because that is beyond true. I will say that, she's never going, oh, he's jumping up and he's grabbing his clothes and he's running out the door and, you're going to get tired of that, or you're going to get upset when you can't, pick up the phone and call him, when you've had a bad day. And again, you are talking about, people who are scheming and cheating and this and that and the other.
Sharing partners.
Well, again, but no, not even sharing partners. The scheming and the cheating.
Yeah.
When we are talking about open relationships, and I think that that's part of the thing that maybe folks missed. Okay, so our title was intentionally missed.
Well, see, I'm talking about it on both sides.
Okay,
so that way we can, because see, some people look at the open part of it and be like, okay, cool.
Right.
Because that is their choice. We're all adults. We live how we want to live. But then on the flip side of that, you have these people who are being victimized.
Right.
By these individuals that, and see, transparent moment, I used to be one of the ones causing the harm. There was a situation where I went in voluntarily, but then there was a situation where I discovered that I was in a situation with a married person and I was not aware.
Yeah.
And, the amount of time that he and I were together, nobody knew that he was married except for him and his wife.
I won't forget that phone call.
Man, how can you spend 5, sometimes 6
days
a week with a person and they have a whole family
and you not know? Truth Reigns says there are different types of side pieces. Not all are not created in an environment where one person is married. This is very true.
Truth.com.
Now, and speaking from a poly aspect, because let me just go on record as saying that I am polyamorous. And in saying that I am polyamorous, and meaning that I have the ability and I am very open with my partners about being able to love and have relationships with more than one person.
And they're not always sexual.
And they are
relationships.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to emphasize that. They are not always freaking sexual relationships. Okay? Because that is the most absurd thing in the world. You're just gonna go around sleeping with 5,000 people at one time. That is just stupid.
But see, the thing is, you're single. So if you choose to date,
I am unmarried.
Yes.
I am unmarried.
Yeah.
So, and taking single as being unmarried.
Yeah.
In that regard,
you're free to date whomever you would like. Period.
And I can honestly say, without dragging people's names or dragging people through the mud, I was in a relationship, in a triad relationship. It did not work for various reasons.
It was toxic as hell. I'll just say it.
For various reasons, it did not work.
It was toxic.
And in doing so, the relationship went from being a triad, a closed triangle, to a V relationship. And in doing so, it has been a challenge. So on the one hand, I understand, but I can see it from both sides.
Right.
Because, they're just like, okay, well, if you're cheating and you're sneaking and you're doing all this and you're doing all of that, you're damaging that family. Okay, but when this is not something that was created in secret, when this is not something that was done in secret, there was no slipping and sliding and this and that and the other, you can't then turn around and say, you did this, you were out to poison a situation. So I understand both sides of that particular argument. I have to agree to disagree. When, you're just like, oh, you deserve more. Okay, let me tell you, not everybody's goal is to do the whole happily ever after, to do the I've been married for 54,000 years.
And that's part of what's coming next.
That is not everyone's goal. Can I look in the camera and say that? That is not everyone's goal. Everyone's goal is not to be, I would love to be able to, maybe looking at my partner 30 years from now and being like, you know what, we've had a good life together. But at the same time, I can say, if we split now, I could say, I wish you well. I wish you every happiness, and I wish you well. Everyone does not want to be, or is created, yes, is created to be in a marriage. Absolutely. Now, when you talk about people have become functioning dysfunctions, this makes my head hurt, because how you can be with someone and your shit is all fucked up. Okay, because see, we not on the air. We're not on
Facebook.
We're not on Facebook, so I'm going to say what I want to say. How your relationship can be all fucked up right below the surface. But you want to present that everything is all good. Or you may actually be in a mindset, everything is all good, because you have pushed all the bullshit and the dysfunction over in the corner in the dark, trying to, acknowledge, to disavow the acknowledgement of it. And so then when it comes out, there's, but we've been doing this all this time, and we've been living this way all this time. That doesn't mean
that it's not dysfunctional.
That's how it's supposed to function. That doesn't mean that that's how that's supposed to work.
That's just like if I get a cut and I don't put anything on that cut, I just cover it up with gauze, but it gets an infection up under the gauze. But instead of replacing that gauze, I put some more gauze on that gauze, and then some more gauze on that gauze, and then some more gauze on that gauze. Then what? Eventually, that place is going to open up to the point that that infection is going to make it into my bloodstream.
Bone deep. It's going to be septic.
Right.
And you're going to be toxic.
Right. And it's the same thing when you don't address things within relationships.
Yeah.
It's the exact same situation. And it's like it says there's no winning. Now, this is kind of what I found interesting. It says we are emotional beings. There may come a time when you want more from him than he is able to give you. You will demand that he leaves his wife because you're tired of being his secret. Now, see, that's dealing with the infidelity side of it, not the open relationship side of it.
Right, and in response to that, Truth Reign says the problem is we no longer define normal in the same manner. Absolutely, because as people we evolve, relationships evolve. We are constantly evolving people.
Correct.
And I think that even as a society, as we evolve or devolve, I'm not sure exactly what we're doing at this point. All of our definitions,
if you're functional or dysfunctional.
Yeah, all of our definitions change. So I agree with that wholeheartedly.
It's like it's like, and then from that point, you're on a slippery slope. There's no winning in that scenario. What is the worst case scenario? He refuses and you're heartbroken. And what is the best case scenario? He leaves her and you become the official new woman in his life. Will you ever rest easy knowing that the side chick position is now vacant? Will you ever trust him knowing what he is doing with you? If he cheated with you, he is quite capable of cheating on you.
I will say that, that is one thing that I come from a rather strict religious background. And in doing so, it kind of shaped how I have become as an adult in the adverse. because I came from such a staunch religious background. It was one of those things of, this makes absolutely positively no sense to me. So let me look beyond. Let me explore other avenues. Let me see what else is out there. Let me get other deeper understandings. So people would be like, oh, well, I am of such and such a religion, and the religion. I do not do religion. I am a spiritual person. I have a relationship with the Creator. I know the difference between right and wrong. You know, I have a relationship with the Creator. I also have a very, very different view on,
Life.
yeah, damn near everything. Like, someone who grew up in the church, or who grew up steeped in religion, looks at me and is just like, not you. I think you tend to be the exception. But like some of these people that I know in my life who are, very staunch, religious people, are just like, blasphemous, you're going straight to hell. And I'm like, shit, I got a throne there and everything. I got a throne. It's got a whole toy department in the back.
You know what?
Get out. I have a tour of duty that I have to do.
Get out. Just.
I'm getting out. It's my house.
Get out.
Like, I have a whole tour of duty that I'm required to do. No, man, please.
But see, on the flip side of that, you talk about the staunch religiosity of things. And that kind of takes us to a topic that we're going to delve into deeper later in the month, where we deal with the psychological abuse of the church on marriage. Let me say it again. The psychological abuse of the church on marriage.
The saints.
It's like, how many times have we heard stories from the guys, the husbands, and then in some cases the wives that were brought up in very strict, staunch religious settings, to the point that when they were developing as God created us to develop, to have that attraction for that other person, that man or that woman, or that female or that male, because at the time they were young and developing, you find yourself attracted to that fella, and they're telling you that you're sinning because of something that is natural. He has an attraction to you, but so he's sinning because of the way God created him. So by the time now we're being groomed, quote unquote, and I'm saying we loosely, because that's not the kind of home I was brought up in. We were brought up to know that when we get older, we're going to have these relationships with these people. We're going to more than likely marry, and then in that marital relationship, you are with your significant other, your husband or your wife, or whatever the case may be, and you have been so browbeaten coming up, being told that what you felt naturally is wrong, until you are in a position of, is it okay? I'm scared now to open up and be a sexual being, to have any type of emotions or feelings of any kind. Because I have talked to women who have been told that whether they're sexually satisfied or not doesn't really matter. It's all about making sure that husband is pleased. And I have been told by men that their wives have been taught that, the missionary position is basically all that they should do, because, that way she can see whether or not he's being satisfied. But it's like he was, this I'm saying he, but I've had this conversation with multiple people where he wasn't satisfied because he is a true sexual being, and we're told the marriage bed is undefiled, So if the marriage bed is undefiled, then we should be able to explore and do whatever it is that makes us happy. Now that's just my opinion.
Baby!
If the only thing my husband wanted to do was spread my legs and run up in me missionary, we would have some serious issues. I'm just saying. If that's all I was wanting to do for him, we would have some serious issues. We're talking about, there have been people who have said that oral sex is not of God. Oh, baby, there have been a lot of different conversations.
Let me tell you something. When they talk about eating from the fruit of the tree of life, and we talk about the universe, okay, because see, now you don't pluck the nerve. When we talked about the universe, and you talk about eating from the tree of the fruit of the tree of life, a woman is where life comes from. A woman is the root of where life comes from. So how are you not to eat from the fruit and eat from the tree of life when that is where life comes from to begin with? You better get the hell up out of here. Anyway, let me read these comments. As you can see, she's the good one.
I'm always the innocent one.
Truth Reign says, oh my goodness. Not only on marriage, but also on singleness. We were conditioned to believe the natural was a sin simply because we thought about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Such as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And if you think it, then you might as well
have done it. Oh my God!
Goodness,
how many times did I hear? I had an uncle who was a bishop. So how many times?
So if I'm gonna turn around and get stripes in hell for thinking about it, I might as well go ahead and enjoy it. Let me tell you something. Might as well go ahead and enjoy it.
If I got in trouble for my thoughts, maybe I'd be walking around perpetually on fire. So it's whatever. Anyway, so you're right. The old school taught that women were not to be pleased. It was our jobs to please him. Therefore, we were ill-learned.
So, but my question
distorted perception.
But my question becomes, if you are to please him, hey Walt, if you are to please him, if you're to please him, but you're holding back to the point where he's not being satisfied, that's where
y'all got a whole set of issues. I'm gonna need y'all to call me.
That's what side piece.
Let me tell you something, because that is what the side piece. I'm gonna need you to take a drink of that. It'll numb everything. It'll be all right. That's what happens when you live with a bartender. Take a swig of that. Okay, so I'm going to say, if you have hit that roadblock, call me. I'm gonna help you through it. We're gonna go toy shopping. Call me. Anyway,
well, pretty soon they'll just be able to call me. But anyway, but
no, I like in all seriousness, I have to kind of go back to that, because it's one of those where it's like, and I know, I've talked to people I've talked to men who've been like, my wife, we grew up in such and such a church, and I had to actually go on and ask permission, and now that we've been married, and she doesn't think that she's supposed to do this, or she's supposed to enjoy this, or we can't do this, because it is against
the way they were taught.
Against the way that they were taught. I've actually heard a woman say she had a whole issue with sex because she was taught that the whole point of sex, one, was to satisfy her man. He's supposed to get up there and he's supposed to do his business, and you are supposed to endure him doing his business.
You weren't supposed to be pleased. I guess you were fortunate if you were
supposed to endure him doing his business and for the sake of creating children. Okay, let me tell you something.
I haven't had a child to crack my tail.
I
Not that I
haven't-
haven't been pregnant, because my husband and I, we were fortunate enough to, get pregnant a couple times, but my body physically wasn't able to sustain the pregnancies or what have you. But on the flip side of that coin, when you are in a position where where you're psychologically jacked up to the point that, okay, I'm not supposed to enjoy this. I'm just here so that he can get his, so his nutsack will be light. And it's like, okay. And so no man wants to be intimate with a log.
Let me tell you something. If you only doing it to keep his nutsack light, if you only spreading your legs because I don't want him to go nowhere.
Baby,
I don't want him to, I don't want him to enjoy anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him, I want him here at home, not entertaining anyone else. Let me tell you, you're going to be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
He going to be out.
And even if he doesn't leave, the side piece will be there.
He's going to be entertaining.
The side piece will be there.
Entertaining.
And that's just...
Oh, okay. Well, you can't hear us. I'm so sorry. Okay,
sorry.
So Truth Reigns that was one of the lessons of submission. It wasn't about you. The Bible says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church. Mm-hmm. But it says, wives, respect your husband. I'm going to respect him as he
lays that wood.
But as he handles business and lays that pipe. The problem is they taught respect as being submissive to whatever it is he wanted. Baby, it wasn't about you. Let me tell you something. If I'm having sex, damn it, it's about me. I mean, I want to make sure that my partner is pleased. But
you want to make sure your partner makes sure you're pleased as well.
Let me not be. You ain't going to be my partner. It's real simple.
And that's it, cut and dry, which takes us back to where we are now. And it says, like this young lady was saying, that it's not worth the risk.
Of what?
Being the side piece. It says, being in your position can scar you. It can lead you to carry some serious trust issues into future relationships. So even if you leave him and date other people, you cannot unlearn the things that you now know. Well, know now, either way. You know that he needs to deceive his wife in order to be with you right now. So imagine what it would be like the day that the shoe is on the other foot. The day that you are a wife and your man tells you he's going on a conference, will you not feel worried knowing that your current man was using the same excuse to get away from his family and be with you? It may seem like roses right now, but how long will it last? In the meantime, you are shutting the door on all guys who may be interested in you, and the man who is truly meant for you might be knocking on your door, but you won't hear him because you are preoccupied with somebody else's man. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future, but the least I can do is warn you of the possible consequences.
I am going to hit you with a word. It's called compersion. It's a poly term. So I can't speak for the monogamous relationships. I cannot speak for monogamous.
Well, you could, because you've had
I could. I've been there and done that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So from a poly standpoint, the term compersion. Compersion is when you are happy that your partner is happy, that your partner is content, that your partner is loved. Because to me, I believe in unconditional love. I believe in unconditional love, and I'm going to love you. Unless you are just absolutely positively doing me dog. You are deceiving me. You are doing dirt behind my back. You are doing a whole bunch of lowdown. You are mistreating me. Whatever. I believe in compersion. I believe in my partner being happy, my partner being loved, my partner being, in a secure, happy relationship, even if it's not with me.
And you know what's crazy? I'm in a monogamous relationship with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I have actually had that same conversation to the point where we said, if you ever get to the point where you're not happy or you feel that you need to be with someone else or you need to go beyond the scope of our relationship, tell
me.
Allow me, love me enough to give me the choice and the option to decide if I want to be a part of a situation like that. Don't just go out there and cheat on me. Give me enough love and respect to come to me and say, babe, I'm not happy. And that's where a lot of people break down.
And I'm going to say this. You know what? I'm going to tell you because, I think that this is one of those things, and this is a poly thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be, babe, I'm unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. When it comes to
unfulfilled.
It don't even have to be, babe, I'm unfulfilled. When you're in a poly situation, when you are poly. Now let me say this. Poly is not something you do.
It's who you are.
This pisses me off. People who are just like, oh, we decided we were going to try poly. We're going to try to be poly. We're going to try to do the poly thing. We want to have a poly relationship. Poly is who you are. If you are not poly in your heart, if you are not poly in your soul, if being polyamorous is
you're
not
a swinger
a part
if you're
of,
not poly.
If being polyamorous is not a part of your fiber, of your being, leave it alone. Leave it the F alone. And the reason I say that,
because you end up in toxic situations.
you end up
in situations.
In some BS situations. You can't be with her because she don't like you. You cannot be with him because, right, or I'll kill you. Yes. You gonna be with me and nobody else, or I'm gonna kill you. The hell? You need to take your ass on somewhere. Or like I said, for me, it's one of those, it's just like, because I believe in compersion. Because compersion is where I am in my heart and in my soul. If I don't feel compersion when it comes to a particular partner, that means there is something wrong in the foundation. There is something wrong within the relationship between me and that partner that needs to be examined. Because my ultimate end goal is that I want my partner to be loved. I want my partner to be happy.
Hi, Bender.
And so if we are talking about your partner is looking for another partner because they are unfulfilled, or they are looking for another partner because they feel that something is lacking. That's not poly. That's dysfunction. When your partner is just like, you know what? Okay, unless we're talking about a bisexual woman or a man who, you don't have the equipment, you don't have the balance. You don't have the balance. If you don't have that balance, then yes, I understand when you say you are unfulfilled or things are unrequired. What is compersion? Compersion is, I can give you the really, really technical definition, but compersion is when you are happy or you feel joy at your partner feeling joy and being happy with someone else. Like I'm helping my man get ready for a date with this new woman. Compersion, the feeling of joy one has experiencing another's joy. I am happy that you are happy. Such as in witnessing a toddler's joy and feeling in response. Because I'm going to tell you, another level of compersion for me was, that little person that we have upstairs, her absolute delight Christmas morning.
Girl, I looked at that video. I never showed you the video.
Oh my God, I couldn't because what I saw, brought tears to my eyes. Yeah. And then when she just hugged me and she was just like, oh, this is for me. And like when we went to my mom's house and there was stuff for her, she had a whole backpack full of stuff. And she was just like, for me? And I mean, her eyes lit up and her face lit up and her whole demeanor changed. And she was just absolutely ecstatic that all of this stuff was for her.
Now, she melts my heart when something as simple as when I think I told you one day she brought tears to my eyes because I fixed lunch. And when I, gave her food and she was like, thank you for the food. Girl, I could have cried.
Yeah.
I did cry. I was a punk that day.
Ah!
But it's just like the simple things.
But for me, when my loved one, when the person that, again, this is where I know that I'm on the right track with someone, or this is where I know that I'm not. When the person that I love, the person who has my heart, the person who has my absolute affection is happy, baby, let me help you get ready.
Right.
Hold on, I don't like that outfit here. Let me go over here and pick something out for you. Or, girlfriend, that's what you're going to wear. Let me tell you, we're going to go to the store before you go on this here date.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you, because this is what we get ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you. This is what we get ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or make sure that this happens. Now, you call me, not because I'm jealous, not because I want to keep tabs on you, not because I have this all-consuming, I need to know every damn detail I need to know, but because I want to make sure that you're happy.
Right.
Because I want to make sure that you're safe.
Right.
Because I want to make sure that you're in a good space.
Right.
Afterwards.
Right.
And because I want to hear the joy
in your voice.
I want to hear the happiness, the excitement.
I want to feel the energy, even if it's coming over the phone.
Okay, now see, that is one of those things that I don't talk about with a whole lot of people. I feel energy.
All empaths do.
Yeah, but I feel energy. So if your energy ain't right, I'm be like,
let me slide on over here for a little while. Yeah.
If you have negative, combative, manipulative, whatever kind of energy, I'm be like, deuces.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can tell me, you can show me whatever you want to, but energy does not lie.
Right.
I have energetic connections with people whose faces I have never seen live and in person. Yet I have felt energetic connections that were negative with people who I have.
Oh, but see, Bender's trying to turn me into a punk. He's trying to make my eyes sweat.
Yeah, I'm feeling comparison looking at y'all. Hey, Mr. Wolf.
But
now that's another one. I'm gonna tell y'all. That is
a phenomenal
human being. Mr. Mindbender, Sir Mindbender is just absolutely just the truth. So is Nanti Bender. They are the absolute positive truth. Nothing makes me happier than to see their love, their energy, their I mean that you want to talk about feel good. Like if I'm in a bad space, I can go and watch like one of their where they're going back and forth on a thread, or I can go and watch one of their clips or one of their videos, and I'm just like, and it's just they just make you feel good. But they give you that energy, and that's the compersion. That is the compersion part to us. And like I said, that is obviously not a sexual relationship, but the compersion, the joy, the energy, the love, I feel that with them. And so it is just absolutely amazing to me. And so, when she's just like, hey, daddy, or my daddy's the best, or, he's like, my little one is, she's so fly, she's this, she's that. She really is.
She's a gorgeous woman. She is absolutely gorgeous. Hey.
Hey, I'm sorry. Okay. So when I talk about compersion, but again, that also shows when I talk about not feeling that energy.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about I don't feel compersion when it comes to you. I'm feeling some kind of real shady way.
But see, it's just like you can tell when me and G are off balance.
I sure as hell can. Now these two, her and her husband. Okay, in case y'all don't know, we all live together. We have like a whole weird polydynamic family thing going on.
And
that is
gorgeous
again
home.
non-sexual. But it
sure?
is. Hell yeah, I'm sure.
Cause you know,
everybody swears, but what the hell ever. Put it on my kids. It's non-sexual. Anyway,
put it on us because hell we know.
And then 30 years in running.
Right.
Okay. So, but my thing is, he will do something for her, and she will do something for him, or to just watch the two of them interact on a positive note. Because when they mad at each other, she can be mad at him, and I will jump her shit, and I will do the same with him. But now he and I have almost literally come to blows over this one, and it wasn't because it was a territorial thing. It was because I was not happy.
Okay.
So sorry.
That was crazy. Completely and totally. So I apologize. It was just like out of the blue. It was just like here today, gone today. But
we're talking about compersion. We were perfect on
Ananda and
on the vendors.
Yeah. But it was wild. But I wanted to kind of go into this article that I found where it's talking about 7 things you learn raising kids in an open relationship. It says, have you thought about how a polyamorous relationship works with kids? My colleague asked as I suppressed a smile. I've written a book about it. I was tempted to say. Now this is by Luisa Tiades or whatever. It says, do they sense any instability? It says she spent hours at a time analyzing their actions and reactions. Are they more at risk for bullying due to the unconventional nature of their parents' relationship? We've carefully cultivated their environment from schools to friends, even countries. Do they get confused? They're kids, so sometimes yes, sometimes no. What matters more is how we handle it. Thus, the answer to that in all 3 is it depends. It says a polyamorous relationship changes the environment your kids grow up in. Those who live and love inside polyamorous relationships know this.
Yes.
Because polyamory isn't something you do like badminton on a Thursday night. It's a philosophy. Some say an inclination, a way of living, which opens the world up to potential, both positive and negative. New risks, new love, and new influences, not only for you, but for the people you love. That's one of the things I didn't have to learn in order to know it. But here's 7 I have. Okay, the first one was, I've learned that parallel polyamory is not an option for me. Now, could you explain what parallel polyamory is? In simple terms.
I'm going to find the actual definition because that is not. I'm going to say no. Okay, well, parallel polyamory is where you have multiple partners and you can all sit down like at another term for it is kitchen table polyamory, and that's why I was just like no, because it is where you have multiple partners, whether it's a triad, a quad, or whoever, however many of you all, and you all can sit down at a table, or you all can have a family barbecue. You all are a unit. You can all sit down together, have a great time. It's all love and harmony and dysfunction and whatever it's going to be all at once.
But if you
Regarding however
think
many people it
now,
is.
we talk about tribes,
Yes.
and we talk about how things were back in the day, how people would raise a village,
Yes.
how it took the village to raise the family.
Right.
In one aspect, that's the village.
It is. It is. And to be very, very honest, I think at one point in time, and I have not given up hope on that, to be really, really honest. But for me, that is my life. The goal within my life. Now, I will say that having you and your husband and having, the children here, it goes into that. Although, again, we have a non-sexual polyamorous, relationship
Right.
within our home. But, I mean, it is a give and take. It is a village. It is a synergy between all of us in watching over the kids and providing for the kids and taking care of one another. In just making sure.
In sickness and in health.
Because I promise you, these past couple of months have been rough.
Yeah, for all
And
of
like
us,
I think
yeah.
right now everybody but one person in the house has a cold.
Well, he doesn't have one.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Everybody but one person in the house has a cold. And it's a yucky cold. I mean, it's not cute. And we just kind of, it's your turn now, and it's your turn now.
Yeah.
We all run around with medicine bottles and jacking each other up. It's just, here, it's your turn. You need some medicine.
Did you drink your tea?
Did you take some NyQuil?
Yeah.
I got some Dayquil. You want some cough syrup?
Right.
Cough drops?
Right. Did you give the baby her meds, or do I need to give it to her, or whatever?
We need a checklist for that.
Right. But it says here, my kids are always, okay, it says, she said, I learned that parallel polyamory is not an option for me. My kids are always a priority. They also adore their father, as do I. We spend a lot of time together as a family, which presents a deal breaker for some prospective partners and relationships.
Yes.
Some folks in polyamorous configuration manage to keep their relationships, even with open and full disclosure, fairly separate, which we hit earlier. They conduct them in parallel with the odd how do you do on a rare social occasion. I choose not to get involved with folks who require that for whatever reason, because I believe that long-term relationships, which is her preferred kind, need and deserve an investment of time, and she's not willing to spend much of that time away from her family, which means her partners have to spend nearly as much time together with each other as she does with them. And she's looking to build and nurture an integrated family as well as multiple relationships.
Okay, well, I don't really want to do the whole multiple relationship things. I'm not really into the whole relationship anarchy, where there are no rules and no boundaries, and everybody has 5,000 partners, and you have this partner, and you have this partner, and that partner, and I have this partner and that partner.
And that's the next thing that she goes into.
I ain't got time. I don't like people. I won't say I don't like people. I'm a little antisocial. I'm what did they call it? A social introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will retreat. We can have a whole house full of people, and I will greet everyone. Hey, how you doing? An ambivert. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Have a drink. Want me to fix you a drink? I'll fix you a drink.
Get out.
I don't tell people to get out. You tell people to get out. I just leave.
Because
I just go hide in my room.
She lets me be the bad guy. I don't mind.
Well, and it's not even so much that. It's just that I will say, as an introvert and as an empath, and being an empath is part of the reason why I am such an introvert. It is a large crowd of people is physically
exhausting,
mentally,
it's exhausting,
emotionally draining.
Yeah.
When I have people in my life who are, and that's part of the reason why I cannot do the parallel polyamory, because I do not, and I will snap. I will become real snappish. I don't have it within me. I can be as loving and as social as absolutely positively required.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to go in my room, give me my remote and my fussy PJs, and and my socks and my bonnet and a glass of whatever, and leave me alone.
Let me be happy. Yeah.
Love you doesn't mean I love you any less.
Right. But
It just means
chunk producers. Now, the next thing she said was, I learned that my love for adults is conditional. Maybe I knew it without knowing it before, but new partners have brought a more conscious awareness on the type of love I am capable of. I make sure by my words and actions that my kids know I value them unconditionally, that I will listen and promote their concerns above my own love for a partner. It is my job to ensure they can turn to me if they have a worry which needs to be heard. When my son had a nightmare about family members turning into monsters that only he could see, I took it as an opportunity to tell him I would fight against all and any monsters to protect him without hesitation, and no matter whether I thought I loved those monsters or not. That night, and in many conversations since, we've examined power dynamics and potential for both unconscious and conscious abuse. Polyamory has also highlighted to me that the fact that my love for my partners, no matter how strong, is conditional. And the condition is my kids' health, well being, and safety.
okay. As a polyamorous person, I have really managed to keep all of that away from my children.
Mm-hmm.
Up until I guess the most recent relationship, and that has been extremely trying. This most recent relationship, because it was a relationship that unfortunately went left real quick and real ugly. And because I have a child who is used to, my child is used to being an only child and being connected to my hip. My godchild got pretty much used to being connected to both of our hips, and to yours, and to your husband's. And so, she's just kind of like, well, where's so and so? Or, where's this person? Or, I miss this person, or I miss that person. But my child, my daughter, my alien princess, y'all don't know, my alien princess is full of salt and venom. Not vinegar, venom. And I think this most recent relationship has affected her to the point that, one, she's just like, ain't no way in hell I'd ever be poly. This is the biggest bunch of mess, and she's just like, and I won't do it. But it has also...
Yeah, that's kind of where she is right now.
That's just very much where she is right now. But she's also very angry.
Unfortunately.
She is very, very angry. And because she is angry, I have since, just kind of cut her, but she is my priority. Mm-hmm. And so because she is my priority, those things that have angered her, those things that have been negative to her, those things that have caused such a vicious and virile reaction,
they gotta go
within her. And I think that was one of the things that I think was not understood, was the fact that it wasn't just my reaction, it was my princess's reaction. And I can call her my princess, and I dare somebody else call her a princess without catching a black eye. I think it'd be real funny.
Well, she's my little child.
Well, okay, someone who's not a part of our family. But, just a part of our village.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there's people who call her, the chocolate drop and chocolate princess. I mean, for the longest time, her name was, yada, 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 chocolate, chocolate princess, whatever. So, because her reaction has been so volatile, and on the day when I said, this is enough, her reaction was so volatile that I finally had to just pump brakes and be like, I'm done. Because of her reaction. Yours too. But her reaction. And then that's the other part of it. Because you all are my village, my family. You are my sister. That is your husband. But this is our home. And because the reaction was such that it was, I finally had to say enough was enough.
Because when you have 4 people rolling out the door just because somebody clicked the beeper on the
man, that was hilarious, hilarious.
Okay, yeah, you rolling over this way,
but that's when you know
you rolling this way.
That's when you know this is not a good situation. It needs to, it needs to cease and desist.
Yeah, it says that number 3. I learned that kids benefit from different role models who are not me. It says, I focus on being true to myself because my integrity is important. But that means I model my own decisions, values, and sometimes, yes, my more unattractive qualities. I have rebelled against the capitalist system. I have embraced my particular brand of feminism. I often judge, even though I am acutely aware that my judgments are the product of my experience. Once I thought that my egalitarian vision of loving and expansive life was the right one, and that I was bringing my children up the right way, until I realized that even though what I want for my children above all is agency, my stubborn vision meant I wasn't supporting their way enough. My partner's partner, has followed a path through corporate life. She has her own interpretation of the world. She's another model, and whilst we don't see eye to eye, one of the biggest values she brings is precisely those differences between us. My children see firsthand that there's no one way of being, which means they are more free to choose. The next thing was, I learned that sometimes I need to be dishonest to protect my kids. Well, I'm going to read it first and then it says, when I met a second partner and before we decided that our relationship was for the long term, I was unwilling to introduce him to any more than a friend who visited rarely. We were careful not to demonstrate any intimacy, including holding hands. Why? My children are small and impressionable. They're more likely to trust who they see me trusting, and holding hands is an indicator of trust. So we built our relationship slowly and carefully. I had no need to lie because friends and more is what we became. But over a long period of time, 4 years later, I, who pride myself on honesty, as many polyamorous folks do, must admit that I lied by omission. Still, I would do it again in order to, I guess, protect her children. Kind of like what you were just saying, you kind of kept everything away.
Up until, I would say, maybe about a year ago, my daughter did not know those who I was involved with. That's Mr. So-and-so.
But see, you have a lot of business connections.
Exactly. So there were people who, because I have so many business connections, because I do so much in the community, because I have just as a wide plethora of people in my life. My daughter to this day doesn't know who is who other than those who have occurred in the past year. She didn't know.
And as an adult, there are some things that your child should not be exposed to.
Now, I will say, in saying this, that my child knows this. My child is now 17 years old.
Right.
I mean, she's damn near grown. my child knows stuff. I can bring up a conversation topic. I'd be like, I want to talk to you about so and so and such and such, and she's just like, what you want to know?
Right.
No, it's not what I want to know. It's, I call myself trying to enlighten you on some things, and she's enlightened me on a few things. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, hold on.
Because she reads. She's
She
very,
reads everything.
she is, she
I gotta
she
watch her.
delves
She
into, when she
everything.
delves into
Yeah.
topics, she delves deeply into them, and I guess that's a lot of her dad coming out, because she wants to know all that there is to know when a topic catches her attention. But the next thing would
Whose child does research? That's a hobby. That's a hobby.
Right.
My kid's hobby is research.
Right. But it's like the next thing was, I learned that one of the biggest impacts on a kid's environment is stress. It says I have a conflict of interest regarding polyamory and parenting.
Yeah.
Of course, I want to believe my choices are not harmful to them.
Yeah.
It is one of the reasons why, along with the enormous love for my children, I threw myself into researching childhood developmental psychology. I hope that peer-reviewed science would shine a light on any bias and help me evaluate my choices more carefully. During my studies, I learned that stress greatly impacts the development of the brain. Unstable and acrimonious relationships, monogamous or polyamorous, can be conducive to a level of stress known as toxic. At the same time, some stress is needed for healthy development. That research made it easier to manage the level and frequency of changes in my kids' environment. Whilst I support freedom to choose, my own interpretation of what is stressful means that I choose very few stable relationships. Society's attitude played a part here too. Without such a strong vilification against polyamorous relationships clashing with my own inclination, I doubt I would be as well informed as a parent as I am today. I'm not a fool. Relationships do break up, but we have control about how they are handled. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but the surprise stress from divorce and the consequent upheaval is so prevalent in our society that it often passes as normal.
That goes back to when Truth Reigns. I have no idea who that is. But Truth Reigns made the point of saying that, the definition of normal has been changed.
Right, right.
And so I will say that when we talk about, stress and whatnot in the children, in the relationships, toxic stress, toxic environments, toxic situations. If you are in a toxic situation, if you are in a situation that it may not have started out as being toxic, but it has developed to that point. Excuse me. Although a child may be hurt by your decision to cut ties to that toxic relationship, a child is going to be more hurt by that toxicity.
It is.
A child is going to be more negatively affected growing up in a situation that is toxic than in a situation where the parents, for whatever reason, are not together. Because the parents being together is a toxic situation.
And that's exactly what she said. And she said, as the child of acrimoniously divorced parents, my own trauma was overlooked and left a lasting legacy. And I hope that for my kids, forewarned is forearmed.
Because, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something about a personal pet peeve. When you are so toxic, you are so negative, that your spirit, your energy, your everything is so negative that the children don't know which way is up, that the children don't know how to function, that the children are
Losing sleep and everything.
and they are just
Unable
in
to eat.
and they're just, they're in a situation where they're just like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen next, and if folks get to yelling and screaming and hollering, or they start talking about one another, and I just want to hide, or I just want to cry, or I just want to leave. Those are toxic damn situations. And parents, as as a monogamous parent, as a polyamorous parent, as a heterosexual parent, as a homosexual parent, it doesn't matter who, as a transsexual parent, damn it, it doesn't matter who the F you are. If you find yourself in a toxic situation, if you find yourself perpetrating, not perpetrating, yeah, perpetrating. If you find yourself in a toxic situation, if you find yourself promoting a toxic situation, if you find yourself perpetuating, that was the term I wanted, not perpetrating, perpetuating a toxic situation, check your damn self. Check your damn self. I was allowing a toxic situation. I was allowing a situation over the past year. I have allowed situations that were toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And they were toxic in how they affected me. And so then in how I was affecting my home.
Mm-hmm.
And how it was affecting my health.
Mm-hmm.
And how it affected how I moved. I am one of those people who is balls to the damn wall busy with social activities, with all kinds of just stuff.
And you had to shut it down.
Over the past year, about year and a half, things became so toxic
You had to shut it down.
that I couldn't function. I couldn't do all the things that I used to do. I couldn't go and hang out with my girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
We're all laughing and joking and having a good time and having drinks, and I get a couple drinks in me and I'm pissed and I'm angry and I'm cussing and I'm belligerent and
that's not you.
and that's not me. I am typically and generally I have become very peaceful person. So for me to be outside of that, outside of my character, outside of who I am, because of the toxicity in my own personal relationships, it said, hey, dummy,
Check it. Fix
it. End it. Remove your children from it.
Correct it. Correct the situation.
What the hell is that?
Who's a mom?
Oh no, it's one of them damn, just a stink bug.
Okay, well,
What
let's
are they
get out of
called?
here. It don't matter. We'll get out of here.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, and then we've got the last two, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because we're getting pretty close to our time anyway. It says, I learned that sex negativity was harmful to mothers and their children. It says, society called my morality into question when I adopted a more open lifestyle. They called me a slut, sex mad, greedy. For many, my perceived immorality bled across to my capabilities as a mother. I listened, I reflected, and I understood. 40 years before, the world had said the same about my mother, seduced by an abusive man and coerced into giving me up for adoption. It was the way of things back then because as an unmarried woman, she was deemed an unfit mother. I've met her since then, and frankly, her other children are respectful, loving, and above all kind, as she is. It says, one of the many curses of living in our system is the relentless objectification of women as possessions. Our sexuality is owned and shamed by others. Most of us inflict those beliefs or perpetuate them, or both. I am committed to expressing my sexual desires consensually, considerately, and joyously. I am also committed to undoing my harmful upbringing so that my children can experience their sexuality in the way they choose, which takes us back to how, we was talking about the browbeating in the church, and not necessarily just in the church, but even in other religions, and I'm speaking from the church standpoint because, I'm thankful that my dad wasn't like that, and that he was very open and he was very honest, and he had classes, young matrons classes, and had the youth classes as going through for us as we developed as young people, so that we would understand what was going on with our development, not all the way down to hygiene. You don't get that nowadays. You don't get that anymore, where it's like, okay, you need to respect yourself enough to be honest with who you are. If something makes you uncomfortable, say so. If you desire something, be honest enough with yourself to say so. Don't go into a situation accepting things because that is what is expected of you. If it's something that you don't like, that makes you uncomfortable, or whatever, speak up from the beginning, so that down the road it doesn't become an issue of, well, it's been like this all along, so why didn't you say something at first? And then you're going through a whole myriad of different things and issues and stuff like that that you have to contend with. And the final thing that it says, I learned what immense privilege I have, and now my kids know that too. It says, did I mention the potential for bullying? It's out of my hands unless we hide ourselves, who we love and how we love, unless we pretend to be conventional. Except for the fact that we're a privileged family, nothing eliminates human nature, but we have the possibility to lessen discrimination by choosing our environment. We have race privilege, class privilege. And you know what? I'm just stuck on the fact that you were detained for as long as you were, trying to get back home for something that you had absolutely nothing to do with. What in the name of Sam Walton did that officer need you to get out of your vehicle for?
Not a damn thing.
It could have quickly turned into a Sandra Bland situation.
It could have. It definitely could have. And that's why I say, I don't at any point in time, advocate, getting in the face of police officers, or, being,
Right.
challenging them, or, going against them or whatever, whatnot. But this was one of those situations where I was just like, you know what? I'm going to comply, but at the same time, I'm going to let the world know
what's going on
as I comply. That's why I said, give me 30 seconds.
To go live.
I got you. I'm cool. I said, I don't have a problem with that. Give me 30 seconds to go live.
So, and reading the last part of it was, I am living in a city full of diversity. I have not earned this privilege, and I recognize how it benefits me and my choices. It protects my kids. I can't predict what ifs. I hope it would have become aware of my privilege anyway, but I do know that polyamory is what first brought my own privilege to my attention 10 years ago. The extent of the oppression for those less privileged than I is hideous and shocking. My discoveries changed as the direction of my life and career from finance director to activist journalist. I consider it my responsibility to call out my own failings, my own ignorance, and to fight inequality. And I'm bringing my children up to do so. Now, we talk about the topic, the side effects of being a side chick. Now, even with your situation, if you had handled things a lot differently and did not recognize the toxic situation for what it was, it could have gone south very quickly.
It could have, yes.
it could have impacted not just our household and the children within this household, but it could have affected the children in the other household as well. And the fact that, as adults, when you are dealing with a third party or a fourth party or fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, or 10th party,
That's too many parties.
you
That's a whole
know,
party.
but see, when, like I said, back in the day, that was what we had.
Yeah.
And when, like say me and G, we, like you were saying, the hierarchy of things. That was, we talk about what's wrong in the black community. We don't have a tribe.
No.
We don't know where what tribe we come from in order to even care enough to have a structure within our communities. Our men aren't policing our men anymore. Our women aren't policing our women anymore.
Hell no. That's just crazy.
So it's a situation where, we can't help but to have dysfunction.
True.
We can't help but have things totally and completely upside down in our society because there is nothing keeping us. Well, there's no structure.
No.
And you know what?
I'm a-
Mr. Man about to get some real bad understanding coming all the way over here. Just gonna put you right there until we finish. But we are, and I'm glad that we're talking about this from both sides of the coin because when you talk about side pieces, we often hear about the female, like I said, and how she's vilified and how, the guys are glorified for having multiple partners, but the problem I have with that is these guys that are having multiple partners aren't providing for their partners. They're basically hitting and quitting. They are not
emotionally invested. They're not invested as far as family. They are not
financially able to take care of the people that they're dealing with in most cases.
yes. And I think and then it's not about family anymore.
Right.
Because, they're out to,
It's about self.
yeah, it's about self.
It's
And
selfish.
it's not, for me, it's not about family. And when it ceases to be about family, when it is not, let me help take care of this family, let me, build structure within this family, let me, create, a family unit or, to help with the family structure, when it's not about family, then it's not about, like you said, it's not about anything but self.
Yeah.
But
And
then again,
that's where the problem comes in when you talk about having that other individual as a part. Because even if that party is unknown by whomever, if you have a situation where there is not an openness, a person that you've been with for X number of years can tell when something's off. A person that you have had a relationship with a few months can tell when something is off. Because if you've always done this, and this way, and then all of a sudden we're deviating.
Well, sure. But and I guess on the flip side to that, we talk about polyamory. We talk about polyamory as if it was a new thing. But I can remember growing up, and I can remember two gentlemen in particular um, who had wives. Like I grew up, this is this man who lived across the street when I was very very young. He lived across the street, um, and from a toddler, I can remember him being with that lady across the street. And they raised the family, and they had kids, and her kids, their kids, and I remember that. And I remember when that man died, and they were like, well, his wife came through, that was his wife at the funeral. No, that's his wife over here. That lady that I know, that I've known all my life, that's not his wife. No, that's his wife over there. So the wife was sitting on one side of the aisle, and the woman that I know as his wife was sitting on the other side of the aisle.
And there's a guy down home in Mississippi who had multiple families.
Yeah.
And he was married to one,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a family with another young lady.
Mm-hmm.
And all in all, he had I think it was 36 to 38 children. With some of those children being outside of those, but the majority of them being by those two women. So when you talk about when he died, all of the stuff coming out of the woodworks. Now, if you want to look at it from a biblical perspective, for those who may watch or whatever the case may be, you got Sarah and Abraham. And Sarah was barren. So she invited the third party in. And then they ended up with Ishmael. Mm-hmm. And then the baby mama teasing Sarah because, I got a baby and you don't.
And you don't.
You got the title, but I got the seed.
Okay, I'm going to address that one too.
Yeah, okay. Address it.
When we're talking about polyamory.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, that's against the laws of man, and that's not natural, and that's against this, and them so and so's in the Bible.
They had multiple wives.
Had multiple wives
for different reasons, and
regardless of reasons, they have multiple wives.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I'm a pull rank. I'm gonna do this. No, the hell you're not. You're a wife.
But see, they still practice that over in certain parts of Africa right now.
Hell, they practice that. Those there
that
are cults.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah, there are not cults. I mean
cultures.
Cultures.
I dated a Nigerian in not high school, but in college.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful relationship, and he was like, "I want you to meet my mom and my." We had a great relationship going. I want you to meet my parents when they come. Or, even better, I would love for you, because he came from a very affluent family. I would love for you to go home with me on, summer break, even if it's just for a week or so to meet my family. And I was like, that wouldn't be too bad because, I'd spoken to his parents over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But then he messed up and he said, you would be a perfect first wife. Who? You would be a perfect first wife. No, bruh. Now, see, the way my mind is made up, and, because at that point in time, I was just like, I ain't got time for the foolery. I had been hurt. Mm-hmm. I wasn't trying to, man, you lost your daggone mind. And see, in the way that I am, I'm not as open to loving other people, other women. I'm not that. I'm not her. I'm not her. Because the first time you come for me, I'm gonna cut your throat.
Okay, but see, and that's the thing about it. When we talk about, our roots, and we talk about where we came from, and even when we talk about polyamory, as far as going back to, the motherland, and and the cultures and the way that they grew up, and the way that they were brought up, and we're like, oh, we're trying to model ourselves after those who came before. Da 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 da. They ain't have all that bullshit.
Right.
The third wife did not come for the first wife.
And if she did, she didn't like what came after.
No. But I mean, and it wasn't a matter of I was here first.
Mm-mm.
It was a matter of I'm his wife.
Period.
You're his wife. I'm his wife. But if you come for me, I got something for you.
Right.
But I'm his wife. Just
there
like
was a
you're
hierarchy of respect. It's just like the royal family. Everybody's royal, but there's a hierarchy.
But see, no, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't, unless we're talking about the kings and queens, there is no hierarchy.
There was then, though.
In a lot of tribes, yeah, you came first. But that's just because that's when you said your vows. You said your vows first.
And it depends on the tribe.
It does depend on the tribe.
It depends, because, see, there are times there are tribes that have the hierarchy. And then there are those, like you're saying, that if you have the title, you just have the title.
You have the title.
And you're on equal footing. And see, but when I was dealing with Sydney, it wouldn't have been a situation of equal footing, because he was like, and whenever we bring in another wife, you would have the final say so. No. Because if I can't have another husband, you can't have another wife.
See, now therein comes a whole nother
And that's what I'm saying.
A whole
So
other
it all
aspect of
depends on the
polyamory.
tribe
Right.
of what you're dealing with.
And even, in current modern day polyamory, it kind of depends on how your situation is set
It's
up
structured.
and how
Right.
it is. Polyandrous, Lord, I forgot all my terms. But it really
Or
just kind of depends.
simply just being, whether you decide just to keep it between you and whomever.
Okay.
But we're gonna shut that part down.
I was watching you.
Oh, we're gonna shut that down, and we're gonna talk about the 23rd, and then go ahead and shut it down for the evening.
So, February 23rd, Indianapolis, Indiana. We are having our anniversary party. At the end of this month, we will celebrate 1 year of this thing called life being on the air. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Matter of fact, I think it's actually the 27th.
That just gave me a hot flash.
I know. But yeah, so we're actually celebrating 1 year being on the air with this thing called life. And so we have decided we're actually going to push our anniversary party back a month, because we want the opportunity to bring in some guests from different regions of wherever, and from because we have some really exciting news, some really exciting partnerships. This thing called life is going global, y'all. So we are going to be announcing business opportunities. We're looking for vendors. We're for the actual event.
Yeah, like apparel.
Apparel.
Because
people to be a part of a food showcase.
Well, don't we already have some of the, just reach out to us, because
Yes.
there are some areas that we've already covered.
Yes.
And so we're not going to overwhelm the place because we're going to network for a while.
Yes.
But after, like, from maybe 5 to about 7:30. And then after that, we're just, because the theme is let's go crazy, this thing called life. Dearly beloved,
We are gathered here to celebrate this thing called life.
So, we're going to enjoy life, because so many of us have lost loved ones. So many of, over the course of the last year. So many of us have had sickness and illness come upon, ourselves physically, and then those that we care for and love. There have been so many things that's transpired in 2018. And we want to enjoy and celebrate living to the fullest extent. You know, we are looking to partner with businesses. We are looking to expand our network. So if you have a business, feel free to drop a link. I'll put a post up. We have our host page, our actual host page, our KeeDee page, truly KeeDee is the name on there on Facebook. That is the actual host page for the show. But then we also have the show's fan page, this thing called Life. And so
our new venture, Wind Down, this
WYNE.
WYND, Wind Down, this thing called Life After Dark.
That is where a lot of our adult conversations will transpire because, you know, we really want to protect the minors as much, you know, we don't want to be the ones responsible for corrupting your children. So, right. So what, right. So what we're going to do at this time is we're going to say thank you for everybody joining in. We were hoping to be in our new location at the studio, but everything wasn't completely set up yet. So instead of saying, oh, we're not going to do the first show of the year,
Right.
we said we were just going to do it from our home. So we are here. We will be doing all of our lives from YouTube because of various reasons.
Content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have to be filtered.
Yeah, especially with Facebook and all of the things that they tend to flag. So we appreciate each one of you. We thank you for your input. We thank you for your participation, just for showing up. And pass the word. Share the video. And we look forward to seeing you this time next week on this thing called Life. Peace and blessings, everyone.